Shalom all. Ariel Bar Tzadok here from the KosherTorah School, found online at koshertorah.com, bringing you today's daily Sefer Yetzirah lesson. This is going to be lesson number 10 in our series. And of course, we dedicate all of this Sefer Yetzirah series to the safety, the well-being, and the health of all those who today are facing illness and are in need of blessings for all their goodness and health. So for all you guys out there, this is for you. We're here for you. God be willing, you're also here for us, and together we do something good together. Okay, Sefer Yetzirah, the book of formation. We are learning the secrets of creation. You know what creation is, right? How to make things. Now, in the ancient traditions, you might have heard of something called a golem. A golem was supposedly an artificial life form that was created by the use of the, if you will, spiritual or Kabbalistic technology that's found in this book of Sefer Yetzirah. And you can say, oh, it's all legend and stories. Well, not according to our understanding of things. The way it works is like this. If we understand the underlying energetic function within physical matter and recognizing that matter, almost like a vessel, a fluid vessel, is going to follow the form of its energetic underlying, force, for lack of a better word, then yeah, you can actually manipulate physical form. Now, you could say that's fantastic or that's ridiculous. But from our spiritual point of view, transcending anything Jewish here, because this is actually something experienced in cultures around the world throughout human history. How many in every culture around the world has experienced what we can call some type of a close encounter, a spiritual contact? Even if you look at the ET stuff going on today, you'll find that many of these, in quote, encounters, all of a sudden somebody appears. They could look like a little gray guy or a big tall blonde guy or girl, as the case may be, and they have all these forms, but they're not acting in accordance to our laws of physics. So you'll hear all these times that these little gray guys come in, or the hot-looking blonde folks from Pleiades pop in, and they come in through your wall, they walk out through your wall, they're doing all kinds of this weirdo stuff. So obviously, if there's any literalness to any of this, what they must be doing is somehow transforming matter. Now, whether or not these things are literal or astral, happening in the mind or happening in the body, that's a big debate, and I'm not going to get into that right now. Because those that are happening in the mind astrally, and a lot of these alien abductions are, in quote, astral. We know that because the old demonic abductions were all astral. And both of those forms, that's how you can identify one group with the next, because they're doing the same thing, just different faces on it. This is because they're able to shift the facade of form through using the power of force. And you and I would say, gee, that's all cool. Shapeshifters. I would love to have that power. Think of all the things I could do, all the fun I could have. Well, you want to know something? That's probably the real reason why this type of, in quote, spiritual or mind technology is safely kept out of our hands. Can you imagine the mayhem that would be caused if each one of us could go to school and take, courses in shapeshifting 101, 102, 103, until finally you get to the point where you're an expert shapeshifter. We'll give you a little shapeshifting license, and you're an expert. What kind of mayhem would people cause? You get the gist of this. That is why this type of actual, if you will, again, mind technology is safely reserved in the hands of those people who will not abuse such things. This is always the problem in our global consciousness today, which again in Kabbalah speak, based on the Bible, we call this the eating of the tree of knowledge, good and evil. People do not understand energy and the requirements for energy balance. And because they're going to come to these things with the spiritual level of an infant, not even a child, they're going to mess things up and cause all kinds of trouble for themselves and others. And therefore, it's the responsibility of the, if you will, elderly siblings to keep the order. And I know people are going to say, well, huff and puff and say, why are you telling me what to do? You tell me I want to do what I want to do. I want to shapeshift. I want to be an alien and a dolphin and all this other kind of weird stuff. I want to be a dolphin. Don't get caught up in tuna nets by the Japanese. I'm sorry. Remember, I've been a rabbi and I've been teaching the spiritual practices here for literally, over 30 years. All right. I know I look like I'm a young guy, but remember, I'm an old man. My point is, I've pretty much heard so many different things. And I want you, yes, you, all right? I don't know who you are listening to this video, but I'm talking to you right now, psychically, through the ethers and space and time, to give you personally a message. And that is, I want you to accomplish this level of spiritual accomplishment. I want you to get there. I want you to take your Shapeshifting 101, 102, 103 courses and get your little shapeshifting license and all the rest. I want you to achieve such levels of spiritual responsibility and maturity. But all I can do is provide for you the lessons. You're the one who has to implement them. And only when you implement them, you're ever going to accomplish any kind of mastery. How many of us have driver's licenses? We drive a vehicle. Okay, many of you might remember the first thing here, at least in the U.S., the way we do things, is they give you the book and they tell you all the laws of the road. You learn it, you take what's called a written test, they give you a driver's permit, and then they say go out with an appropriate, professional driver and learn how to handle a vehicle. When you do that, then you come back and you take your road test to show that you are mastered and able to handle the vehicle. First, you learn the laws, the forms, and then you learn the force, the actual flow and movement. This is common. Everybody, should understand this. Everybody's had a driver's license. I don't care whether you're in Europe or Middle East or whatever, pretty much follow the same form. We understand this. It's the same thing with this type of a technology, and technology is the correct term to use. So now, as our Sefer Yetzirah is going to proceed, we are going to, in this second Mishna now, talk about, or let me rephrase and say, introduce a concept about the Sefirot, introduce the concept of letters in energy, and then the whole rest of the chapter deals with the experience of the energies in the level of the Sefirot. Remember what the Sefirot are. According to Rabbi Chaim Vital, he refers to the Sefirot as being the level of ruah, which means spirit, not to be confused with soul. There are three words that we use for soul in Hebrew. Actually 5, but we'll talk about the 3. And these are nefesh, ruah, and neshama. And they refer to very, very different types of energy, of which I'm pretty sure we all know, but we would use in English, for example, other words to describe them. Nefesh energy is what we call life force energy. It permeates everything, everywhere. It is the consciousness of the universe, the ebb and flow of the natural order of things. It exists within everything. When we take on physical form, all those higher parameters of consciousness exist within the envelope of nefesh, energy, life force. Others will call the nefesh chi, or prana, or orgone, or even kundalini. It's the energy is energy. It doesn't matter what words you are. Don't get ethnic, especially don't get elitist or racist by trying to think of one thing next to the other. Energy is energy. And how do you know? It's kind of like when you drive a car. When you get on the road, you'll figure it out. All right, don't go looking into the book. Deal with what's on the road. But within the nefesh energy, which is just the natural flow of things. There is a higher form, a motivator, and that motivator is called ruah. Ruah, as a motivator, imbibes the nefesh energy and gives it movement. Rumba, rumba, high and low, and it seeks this movement. You notice everything in the universe is in movement. The moon goes around the earth. The earth goes around the sun. Sorry, you guys who believe all other kinds of weird stuff. It's not what you think. Everything. Our sun is revolving around in the Milky Way. The Milky Way is going into greater things. Everything is in movement, one way or another. Everything. Every atom is vibrating. Woomba, woomba, woomba. Everything has both a particle function, boom, 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 and a wave function. These two, even in themselves, are conscious, sentient, and aware. Every day, there's a very interesting pasuk, a verse that we recite every day in our prayers when we refer to God as HaMechadesh B'tuvo B'kol Yom Ha'aseh Bereshit. God renews in his goodness every day the work of creation. Why does he have to renew it? Why isn't it just going in the continual wave function? And the answer is wave function is that natural nefesh flow of things, all right? That's going to happen one way or another. We are, for example, of course, right now in this corona virus concern globally. Well, how come we just don't use magic to make the virus just disappear? Shape-shift the virus into, I don't know, strawberry jelly or something. I don't know. Because that's not the nefesh way of things. That's not the way of this world. But ruah is the inner energy. Ruach is that inner force, that motivator, which takes that nefesh and, as I said, gives it that pulsation. It gives it that renewal. It takes the wave function and boom, 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 influences it at every moment. It can influence it like this. It can influence it like that. It can influence it like this. It can influence it like that. I'm giving you hand motions to describe differences. And the differences of the energetic flow materialize in this physical world in different ways. Those different ways are what our Sefer Yetzirah describe as the different divisions, if you will, of the Hebrew letters. So Mishna 2 opens and says with these words, Eser Sefirot. And they introduce a very weird word here called Bli-mah, which would mean without substance, without what. And what is this word? Well, you could look at it and divide it in half, and you can see that the first two letters are Bet and Lamed, which is Lav. All right, actually backwards is Lev. 32. There's our 32 that we've been speaking about. Then you have a Yud, which is 10. And then Mem-He. Mem-He in numerical value is 45, which is the name of Adam. And we take the name of Yud K Vav K in the level of Zerampin. We talked a lot about that before. And we spell it out to give it its coded form. Yud is spelled Yud Vav Dalet. He is spelled He Aleph. Vav is spelled Vav Aleph Vav. And the final He Aleph. Add all those the numerical values, all those letters together, it's 45, the same as Adam, man. So, Bli is now not just 32, but add that letter Yud, which is 1042. 42 is something very, very important in our Torah tradition. The deeper teachings, and I teach this in what I call the Jewish Magic course. It's available on Kosher Torah. Go in my course page and you'll see it there. We talk about this famous 42-letter name of God. So many people misuse and abuse and misunderstand and misinterpret this holy name as something magical. They have other Kabbalah groups say, scan this, and all this magic stuff happens. Gosh, if I only had the power, I would make that illegal, because such misleading, misguidance really hurts a lot of people. Can it help individuals? Yes, it does. But at the same time, helping the minority at the expense of hurting the majority, I'm sorry, I'm not willing to do that. But anyway, the 42 name of God, as we call it, okay, is actually a code. It's a code for the name of actually not just 42, but 84 specific higher entities of energy. I guess we can call them angels. Remember, the Hebrew word for angel is malach, which means a messenger, which means they're functioning to do a job. These 42 entities have an expression in the third level called neshama, which is the level of conscious thought. Conscious thought is direction. It penetrates motivation, ruah, to influence nefesh, soul, life force energy. That's the three. So at the level of mind and thought, you have these 42 entities, which is an expression from the ideal world of Atzilut. They materialize in the form of motivation, the world of Yetzirah. And the combination of these two create the forms. They are in groups of 6 for each of the 7 days of creation. 6, of course, is the form of Zer Anpin. And of course, that in the 7 days, all the 7 in the lower worlds. So this is the secret coded in the word Bli-mah, that these 42 influence the lower world of Adam, man, Zer Anpin, us. Now, don't get confused with overlapping metaphors of worlds and all that stuff. I'm trying to help you understand the flow of energy. When you want to understand the flow of energy, don't go looking to understand driving from the driver's manual. Get out behind the wheel and drive. It's the same thing. This is why, all the courses that we teach here at our KosherTorah schools focus based upon energetic experience. The letters are now divided into 3 forms. It says Esrim Ushtaim Otiyot. You have 22 letters, which are now called Yesod. Yesod means foundation, not to be confused with the Sefirat Yesod or anything associated with that. It means that they are the groundwork, the foundation. We speak of the letters as primordial sound. Everything in the universe vibrates, and it's that sense of vibration that creates, even in a vacuum, some sense of what we understand as sound. So when we say God created the universe, speaking, meaning he set into motion certain vibrational energies, which coincides and align and everything, creating the matter underlying the strings, which created the quarks and all these other mini particles, which form the atoms, which then form the molecules, which then form the whatever it forms until up and up and up we go. This is the energy. It begins with the thought of the mind at the level of the neshama, soul, which is, if you will, the direction. It materializes then in the motivation, the ruah, soul, symbolized by the Sefirot, and materializes in the nefesh through the 22. In our tradition, it's 22 primordial sounds. Primordial sounds is not a concept unique to Torah. I've heard of it described in other traditions, and they have their own expressions of primordial sounds, whatever. It's not that we're going to argue over which letter is which. It's sound, which is energy. And energy is the language of the universe. 3 of these letters are called mothers. Notice, not called fathers. Mothers give birth. Everything is feminine in this world, because this world, remember we said it's the physical nefesh form? It's like the womb of the mother. You know what the womb does? It receives, right? And it's by that passion of the receiving that gives birth. That's why everything in Kabbalah is all sexual. What can I say? It's the universe. 7 are referred to as doubles because they have a focus of balance between them. And then 12 are considered simple. Simple in that they generate a simple function. They're like the wave function. The 7 are like the particle function. Boom, 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 almost like a heartbeat. You know, you go up and down, up and down. And the three are the foundations. Now, we're running out of time for right now, but we'll continue to discuss these types of letters in their relationship, of course, to the three books that we just learned about in our previous class. So, on that note, let's conclude our little mini lesson for today. And God be willing, we'll pick it up tomorrow. And again, all this dedicated now for the safety, healing, and well-being of all those who are facing illness. God's blessings upon us all, and everything should be well with everybody. Check out the courses I have for you on KosherTorah.com. Looking forward to seeing you online. Take care. Ariel Tzadok, KosherTorah.com. I'll see you soon. Shalom.